Hello, I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
This is exciting and new podcast.
Awesome. Let's go.
Here we go. This one's called Isaac the Groupie, which I'm really excited for Isaac to have a big episode this week. Mr. Popularity and Help Murder. Originally aired on October 22nd, 1977. And I apologize. I was going to pull up the IMDb description and read that real quick, but I didn't have it open. How about that? All
Good.
this talk beforehand. But Andy, can you let me know, were there any Titanic jokes this week?
I did not hear one Titanic joke.
I didn't pick up any. Brian, do you recall hearing one or no?
It is also another episode where I'm not quite sure where the cruise ship went. They might have referenced
there was
Puerto
one
Vallarta,
time Puerto Vallarta was
like,
mentioned. That was it. But
I don't
it
even
didn't
know
say.
if they were actually going there. Like it was almost like a throwaway line. Like
It was,
I'm going to leave you in Puerto Vallarta or something.
Gopher
like that.
said something about I got to tell the captain how to get to Puerto
yes,
Vallarta.
that was it. Yeah. So they never and they never got off the boat. They never showed people.
There
off
was
the
no.
boat either.
Yeah, it was all. So here's our description according to IMDb. Isaac, played by Ted Lang, his favorite singer, Roxy Blue, played by Diane Carroll, who looked smoking hot in this episode, by the way.
Very much so.
Becomes his lover. Talkie Robert Tanner, played by Jim Nabors. Popularity increases when fellow passengers think he may be a jewel thief. Burt Fredericks, played by David Groh, plans his wife Denise's, played by Michelle Lee, birthday party, but she thinks it's a murder plot.
Yeah, I didn't.
So that's our description.
I was very shocked that the guy from the Foo Fighters was in this because he looked really good. Now he's like got to be 80 years old.
I think that's David Grohl, right?
Oh, is it Grohl?
Yeah. I
Sorry.
think that's
Sorry.
There's an extra letter.
I did
missing
look
there.
that up. I was like, did I just say David Grohl? I'm like, no, it's not David Grohl. Okay.
I was like, but then that name sounded familiar. I was like, do I know him? But I looked him up. I didn't really know anything that he was in.
And Michelle Lee, like, she's another one. She was like a Dynasty person. That's really all I know her from.
One of them was Knots Landing.
Whatever.
I forget,
one of those shows.
There was something like that. But
I don't know those shows.
So let's see. Here's some of our guest stars, special guest stars this week. We had Diane Carroll playing Roxy Blue. She's the musician who's trying to lay low. David Groh and Michelle Lee, who we just talked about, are playing Bert and Denise Fredericks. Jim Nabors playing Robert Tanner. You know him from some famous TV shows and movies like Andy Griffith, Gomer Pyle. Stroker Ace, one of my favorite movies he was in.
I forgot he was in
Bert.
that.
Yeah,
I forgot he was in that.
He played Lugs. I believe his name was Lugs in that. He was like the crew chief or something.
He was in
like
that Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise group of people.
He was like one of those third, yeah. Let's see. Olin Soule. I didn't know who that was.
And what
he
character
played,
was that?
He played Harvey Grove. Again, I think he had a small part.
Is that the other couple that
they were the Dullards? That's what I have them
Dullards.
written.
Because she called him a Dullard.
But I think I went with
Mr.
Dullards.
Mrs. Dullard. Yes,
I went with Dullards the rest of the way. But there was one guest star on there, Lou Coutel. He played Gus, and he was the limo driver. Like he was Diane Carroll's main guy. Like
when she dropped off the dock. Yeah.
He said like, "Oh, you're gonna diss Bob Hope like this."
Oh,
you know,
okay.
He was that guy, and that guy you may remember him. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He was Amazing Larry, the magician.
I do remember him now that you say that. Yes, of course.
That's not all. It gets better.
Doesn't he say, what does he say in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Something to say, Amazing Larry?
And he pulls out the giant skull or human head. He was a frightened villager in Young Frankenstein.
Oh, well, weren't we all?
And
you're wearing a Young Frankenstein T-shirt right now.
Look at that. That's the reason I threw that on. Yeah.
That is a deep cut from this show.
And there's one other role that I remember him from. I'm guessing you may remember him too. There was an episode of Seinfeld called Fusilli Jerry.
Of course.
And he played the doctor who was the ass man who winks at Kramer. He gets Kramer's
You're
plates.
the ass man.
Yeah, he's the ass man. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I thought that was really, really cool. And
is he still with us or no? Probably not, because he was old.
I think he is no longer with us. But yeah, that was.
And is he the limo driver? Or is he her like?
He's the one who tells her like. I don't think he was driving. He's the one that was like
agent or something like that.
Her
you're gonna miss
hanger
Bob Hope
on or whatever, something like that. You know. Let me see real quick if he's with us.
Man,
still.
What a career! Amazing Larry,
born
and
October 6th, 1930, still with us.
Nice.
He'll be 91 this year.
He is certainly amazing.
If we can get him on this podcast, Lou We'd love to have you
And
here in person.
He's not one of these guys that makes multiple Love Boat appearances.
This looks like a one and done for him. His top 4, he was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Wedding Crashers. He's done 99 things.
Wedding Crashers, huh?
His last appearance was a Grey's Anatomy episode in 2015, so he hasn't worked in some time.
Well,
But again, we're just looking to get you call in real quick. Maybe we'll release that on Patreon.
All right, let's get into this episode.
All right. The opening scene, we see the Fredericks about to board the ship, but she's a little worried about the boat.
Now, this is Michelle
safe.
Lee, right? She's from
This
Dynasty
is Michelle
or Knots
Lee,
Landing
one
or
of
something
those,
like that. Yeah.
and that is David Groh is her
Drummer
husband
from
there,
Foo
Burt
Fighters,
Fredericks. Yeah,
Burt Fredericks. Okay.
she's very stressed. She's a PTA. She's a PTA mom.
So she's complaining about, like, she's got PTA and she's got the brownies and she brought
She
29.
took 29 kids on
and
that
then
trip.
Came back with 30.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
And she's really stressing about this. She is stressing about being like a stay-at-home mom. I mean, not that stay-at-home moms aren't stressed, but this lady's on vacation and she's still stressing about it.
I don't think that would fly today. You have to have at least more than one chaperone for 29
I
kids,
would
right?
imagine you
Especially
would.
at Disneyland.
You probably usually have like 29. And then she makes some kind of offhand remark that she's got to do the carpool.
Yeah, and then he said, remember you switched with Betty or somebody.
You would have thought you would have remembered that before you got on the cruise. Like, oh, damn.
She was trying all she could to
sitting
get out
around.
of there. Yeah, she did not.
And
She did not.
she's really like nervous about being on the boat.
And she again, like she was about to leave, and she goes back into that little corner again. She put herself back in that corner.
Yeah, she's nervous about being on the boat. So,
And now we see a really fancy old Mercedes limousine.
and they park kind of just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't even look like the ship's there. It's to
No.
the left a little bit, but there's Leo right there.
Okay, there he is. Amazing Larry. Diane Carroll. I got to be honest. Diane Carroll, like, I know she's more of a singer than anything.
I can't name one of her songs.
I can't name any of her songs, and I can't name any of her movies or shows except for one.
Love Boat.
Well, besides Love Boat. No, she is in the Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978.
With B. Arthur?
Yeah. And Art Carney, like, she sings a song in the Holiday Special. And
Now, do you happen to know that song off the top?
No,
Like,
and listen, I don't remember the Holiday Special because they've never really released it since 1978. I've seen bootleg copies of it that are so terrible.
Yes, the VHS copies I've seen are really bad.
You can't
too,
get
yes.
5 minutes in, and I've never
like
watched.
all
I've
kinds
never watched the Holiday Special all the way through Disney Plus. That's something they have to add. To
I was wondering if that would be something.
They did a Lego Holiday Special on there, but
does George Lucas have the rights to that, or does
I think they bought
did he
everything.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Does that include like I was like an amendment? Like, hey, don't forget the holiday special.
You'll never
Sorry.
be able to release that. And
I have the full holiday special,
but in good quality,
quality?
or is it like
in decent quality. Yeah,
we might have to watch that.
I think and podcast afterwards. I mean, I think so, or during.
during. So Diane Carroll is a Star Wars Holiday Special alum, and maybe one of the last surviving. I mean, I know she's passed now, but one of the last surviving guest stars in that. 'Cause
Yes.
Art Carney and B. Arthur and whoever else was in that have long been gone.
Chewie's family is no longer with us as well.
I think Lumbach is still alive, or whatever the hell, Lumpy, I think they called him.
Was one Lal or something like that? Just it was like a really short name. Skip.
I'm reminded of
Saul?
a tweet I got recently this week, and it's, who the hell cares?
That's a great line, and it could be used so many times.
It's really a black mark on Star Wars, a franchise that has multiple black marks, black eyes. That was the second thing that ever came out.
That one they tried to erase as much as possible.
Well,
Others they just
all George Lucas tries to do is erase the past. Everything that he's ever touched is, we got to go back and edit that. But
let's add in a do-back here. Or
adding dewbacks to the holiday special would have helped.
all right, so
Diane Carroll,
so we have
right?
Diane Carroll. Yeah, she's playing Roxy Blue. She's a famous singer,
which is what she really is.
You may remember the Satin Doll album. I don't know if you've heard that.
I know, but I'm going to hear about it a lot this episode.
You're going to hear who she sounds like a lot in this too.
Yeah, so Isaac already knows she's coming on the boat, and Isaac is already...
He's psyched. He sees her, but nobody else saw her, like Julie and the rest of the crew. Isaac was the only one who saw her get out of the Mercedes.
But Isaac's a fan, and he's really excited. And let's just put it out there right at the start. This is the first episode that Isaac plays a prominent part. And I'm going to go one step further and say, so far, out of all the Love Boat episodes we've watched and all the mini, or what do you want, whatever segment you want to call them, this is the best segment. The Isaac falling in love with Diane Carroll or Roxy Blue
I think you're right. This was a really good segment.
Because this was actually it was a real story. It wasn't jokey. There was very few jokes. It was just an actual story.
There was a few jokes here when he said the
okay.
Satin Doll album. Gopher then says, yeah, he's played that Satin Doll album so many times that she started to sound like George C. Scott.
Yes.
So now that was the first of about 37 references to George C. Scott we're going to get through this episode.
And it's funny that anybody that doesn't know anything about records wouldn't understand what that means.
Exactly.
After you play them a lot, the wear and
and then Julie, she happens to know the cruise list in the back of her head, I guess, because she didn't even look at it and just said, "I know Roxy Blue's not on the list," because she knows the names.
And do they ever actually reference what her name, her alias is on this ship?
I didn't hear any. Right? We never hear an alias. And maybe Gus got her on. Our buddy Luke.
Now
Patel.
she gets out of the limo, and there's like 5 guys, including Amazing Larry, trying to get her to stay. And they say that Bob Hope, Bob Hope special, you're going to bail on Bob Hope, and
he's going to be
Bob Hope can't afford you not being on the show, something like that.
It was something along the lines of like Bob Hope's going to get kicked off of TV or something.
Now this is 1978. This is at I guess peak Bob Hope special kind of thing. I don't know.
I think he had Ann Jillian all queued up and ready to go for the next.
I don't know if we've had this conversation in one of our podcasts yet, but I was discussing Bob Hope recently at my job, and
nobody knew who he was.
Nobody under 30 knew who Bob Hope was. They all looked at me like I was, what?
It might be tough under 40.
But Bob Hope was gigantic at this time. That just shows you how fleeting fame is. Because if you are not a presidential assassin or a president, you're not going to be remembered. You really aren't. Because Bob Hope was gigantic. I wonder if kids know who Frank Sinatra is. I'm going to ask.
That's a good question.
Because he's like of that era. So, all right. So Diane Carroll's bailing on Bob Hope to go on a cruise, which in and of itself is silly that a person of her stature, she seems like she's pretty big. She's probably got a lot of cash. She wouldn't be going on a cruise with a bunch of like regular people. She would be.
I was just going to say, why would she have her own island? Right?
Yeah, or flying to a private island. But the fact that she's going on a cruise ship with just normal people.
I thought it was really funny how the beer started getting loaded onto the boat, and they made a point to show it, like pointed, and it's Heineken. So I guess this is product placement, right?
Yeah, but you can't even tell that's Heineken. You have to know
if you watch
the symbol.
I'm sorry, but if you watch,
yeah, get it going. Oh, there it goes. It says Heineken
right there. Look on the side.
Yep,
it's a Heineken.
This is the second week in a row where they've showed them loading the supplies on the ship. Which, a slight aside, that is when you go on a cruise, the best thing you can do is do the behind the scenes galley tour. It's really amazing the behind the scenes, what it takes to make one of these cruises work, all the crap that they have to load
so
up
they
for.
You actually,
yeah,
okay.
When they show you like all the food that they have to prepare for a meal, like there's 1,000, 2,000 people on board, and they have to have food ready for them at all times, and all the stuff that goes in behind the scenes. It's quite amazing.
That seems pretty fun. I think I would like something like that. Yeah,
I've been on a couple cruises, and everyone that I've been on, we've taken the galley tour, and it's always a good time. You're gonna have a good time. You went on that with us, right, Brian, when we were on this last cruise, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they show you like the kitchen and them making the.
You're seeing like food in bulk and not like Costco bulk.
Really,
either, like
really amazing.
Bulk,
In fact, when I went on
a military level,
I went on a cruise.
Right?
Oh my God, it's like 20 years ago now. It's really sad. But
when you were in the military,
no. I'm not a military
over
guy,
Macho Grande.
I will never get over Macho Grande. But we took an Alaskan cruise, and they actually showed us the galley tour on a day that they were loading up like fresh salmon that had just been caught like that day, and they were loading them up on the boat. I was like, this is crazy. It was very, very cool. Very, very cool.
All right, so after we see that beer coming on, we see the Fredericks talking to Julie about basically getting their cabin assignment, which is cabin 104 on the promenade deck.
And it's really funny because he says to her, "Hi, Julie," and I said to myself, what? I'm like,
I said the same thing, but then I thought of the answer before he even told Denise.
I didn't. I had no idea what was going on here.
She had a name tag.
Well, that's what he says, but
she did have the name tag. But he seems to have known Julie before this.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Is this guy anybody? David Grohl? Like, is he anybody? Like, he looks like somebody now.
He played Satan in the Tenacious D movie.
Oh, did he really?
In The Pick of Destiny, he played Satan. David Grohl. That was.
Oh, right. Sorry. And so now David Grohl picks up the pamphlet.
This
and
was
walks
the
over to
most
Julie.
awkward thing. He's trying to like pretend he doesn't know Julie.
But
he
he's
opens
obviously
up
not. I mean, the wife is going to look at him walk back and
question it.
She doesn't. And she questions him. She's like, "I thought you didn't know him."
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's just.
But this woman's this woman has
exchange.
issues all around. Like she's paranoid already.
Yeah, she's very paranoid to begin with. Yes.
There's something wrong with this lady at the start of this, which, I'm going to say it right now. This whole plot line is ridiculous.
I thought this was shit too. The surprise party. This real quick. This whole scene. He's setting up a party for his
her
for
birthday.
his wife. It's a surprise party. It has Three's Company episode written all over.
I thought Three's Company as I'm watching this, and in the IMDb write-up for this, one of the people's comments is Three's Company was never this good. I was like, that is crazy that they're referencing Three's Company, because it is so Three's Company, overhearing things, taking things out of context,
and not just sitting down and saying, "Hey, what did you hear?" Just fucking talk to the person and say, "What did you hear?"
She really thinks she's going to be murdered on a cruise ship because,
and she thinks everybody's in on it. She thinks the doc's in on it. It's
Speaking
insane.
of the doc, he's hardly in this episode.
He doesn't come in until like 20-some minutes into this
I
episode.
paused 22 minutes in. He's the Isaac of this episode. He gets
he got the Isaac.
We got nothing going
this week.
Well, they gave Isaac like front and center.
They were
I
like,
guess
Isaac, the first 5 episodes, we're going to give you shit, but you're going to be able to make out with Diane Carroll. In this,
he was like,
this
okay.
episode.
I think they don't have the writing on this is not crisp enough at the start of this season 1, that they know what to do with everybody. They have 5 cast members: Doc, Gopher, Julie, Isaac, Captain. They don't know what to do with them. They don't have enough for these people to do. It's almost like they should not even.
Well, that with the time frame, you only get that 40 minutes, and they're trying to do 3 stories to begin with. So they try to tie in, and that's why they try to tie in. Like you'll see a lot of times where, Julie knows this guy, Julie slept with this guy, Julie's getting married to this guy, and Julie knows a lot of guys in these different countries. But
this is based on her memoir, so
memoir.
So that's why I think Julie's in a lot of stories.
Yeah,
but it's just so funny how Isaac, who we've commented on in the past, gets pushed to the side almost every episode. Doc's that guy. This one, they don't even. Doc, you see him twice, and he only speaks
I'll save
one time.
Because when we get to his, he has a good line, but I'll save it to when we get to his scene. Because right now we have our good friend Jim Neighbors, coming onto the ship and basically cuts off a couple to find out what his dinner table number is. So
now he is in full Gomer Pyle here. He says golly at one point, golly, and
his name here is Robert Tanner. That's Tanner.
Capital T. He makes it known that that's a capital T. He is,
and it's Robert Rober, capital R.
And then he does a whole thing about Little Bob. Is that this scene?
Yeah, it was his dad. Scene? Yeah, because he said his dad was little. He said we probably could have called him Big Bob, but he wasn't really big.
This is terrible.
It's got 60s humor written all over it, like early 60s television humor.
I have now noticed a trend in these Love Boat episodes. The biggest star gets the crappiest story. Because last week it was Milton Berle, who we just basically saw not pulling pranks, but discussing the pranks after they went poor.
Yes.
And the episode before that was Sherman Hemsley getting locked in an elevator for the whole episode.
That was gold.
So it's like they get these big time. I mean, Jim Neighbors at this point was a big time star. He was a big star.
Yeah, he already had his own series.
Yeah, and he was like a famous singer.
Don't even get me started on how he's a great singer. By the way, he
really
has
is
an amazing voice.
And they get him to basically play Gomer Pyle here. And there are scenes in this where he does nothing. There's a scene later on where they just show him standing on the deck, staring.
And the captain's like, "Is he all talked out?"
I really feel that they get these big stars for like a day or two, and they're just like, "All right, just get him to do something." And
yep.
It's never good, but
it makes you wonder how many days he was on set. Really, like how long he needed
because
to be
the other people, the Michelle Lee and Dave Grohl, their story is probably the longest.
Takes the center.
That's the longest story, but they're lesser stars, so they can get them for longer. Mm-hmm. And obviously, the Diane Carroll story. The Diane Carroll story involves a crew member, so that's always like there's always a crew member involved in one of these stories. Yep. But this
was weird too, because again, he cut off that couple to go talk to Gopher, and the couple that he cut off, the lady then calls him a dullard, and Gopher overhears that and calls them Mr. and Mrs. Dullard, thinking that they were coming to ask for their table, but he had already given them their table number. So That was really it made me, that part made me laugh. I thought that was funny because I will call this couple the Dollards for the rest of the episode.
Yes.
In my notes here, it's all the Dollards.
And again, just whatever, infuriating people on this. Just these people are stupid, and who cares? And the way they act later on is just
it's so the beginning of a Three's Company episode. It's so the setup right now. It's like what's going on. And it's.
Yeah, both of these. The Michelle Lee one's definitely a Three's Company episode. This is Three's
Maybe some of these writers wrote some Three's Company episodes.
We have not focused at all through these episodes of writers and directors. I mean, I don't think Spielberg and Scorsese are working on these. But
like I told you, I see one name pop up for director, Stuart Margolin, and the only reason I know that name is because he's been on Gilbert's podcast.
And he does more than one episode. Is he a frequent director?
I've seen him a few episodes so far
already
on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Stuart, if you'd like to call into our episode,
I mean, he's done Gilbert's podcast. He's obviously up for doing anything.
Why not? I mean, if we can get an episode that maybe he likes, maybe he has a favorite episode, we could get him.
That'd be awesome.
That he directed or something. That would be really cool.
I would hope it would be something. He's like, here's an episode I really like. I was not involved.
But he could be like us, where we don't want to hear our voices. He might not want to see his work.
That could be.
I thought, maybe that's something like that. Right after Jim Neighbors and the Dullards clear out here, we get our Bon Voyage scene, and that shows Jim Neighbors
with the Dullards right next to him. Throwing
their streamers, and then we also see the Fredericks real quick throwing some streamers, I believe, as well. Yeah,
because
this is I don't know why, but
Dullards
this is still my favorite, and I think that large lady there is one of the ladies at the table later on.
Yeah. And there's the Fredericks. You're saying Michelle Lee and Dave Grohl.
Yeah, the Fredericks. Yes.
All right.
So after that,
so they're on their cruise.
Yep,
they've started. It's the first
night.
night.
Captain announces that the midnight buffet is being served in the Coral Room. Nice. Captain Steubing. And here we get Roxy Blue coming in ordering Kahlua on the rocks.
Nice.
And Isaac didn't know it was her until he turned around and sees that it's her.
But he knows it's her. And
he knows it's her, and he gets anxious and starts shouting her name. And she's like, shh, you. Don't ruin this for everybody.
This is kind of like almost true to life. Like if Diane Carroll in 1978 was on a cruise ship like that, she probably wouldn't want to be, yelled at.
Again, it wouldn't be Diane Carroll. If this Roxy Blue character is supposed to be as big as she is, wouldn't be on this cruise really. Yeah. She would have her own yacht or something like that. Silly. She'd be hanging out somewhere.
It's always odd the people they get on this. Like she's pretty successful at this point. What's the benefit of being on the Love Boat?
Do you think she had a new album? Maybe she was promoting. That's
Wouldn't that
how
be funny
I
if
see
she had
it.
an album out called Satin Dolls, and she's like, "I'm promoting that album." Can you wedge that in a couple times because they definitely say it a lot.
And can you tell them how I sound like George C. Scott about 14 times?
Scott, like that's a weird reference. Like I'm surprised they didn't reference a singer. Like you sound like I don't know. You sound like Johnny Cash. I'm trying to think of someone with a deeper voice, but they're referencing George C. Scott like he's a singer.
Yeah,
and he's not a singer.
No,
that I'm aware of.
So I bet he just had a stern voice.
Maybe.
So Isaac gets up the nerve here to basically ask her out on a date. I guess right.
He does say he wants to meet her off hours or something like that. He says she says we're having a drink right now. And he's like, but I want to do one like.
And she asks him what time he gets off. He gets off in an hour back. Get it?
Now this is the most. This is the most Isaac. This scene right here is the most Isaac so far in the Love Boat.
Yeah, and
now this scene. This is like a
I think he did really. I think this is a great scene. I like the way the whole setup here.
So far, this is the best story in the Love Boat. The 6 episodes in.
Our Love Boat. What are we calling it? A creative universe? Are we gonna do LBCU? Is this a term we're taking on? I mean, I'm in if we're doing it.
LBCU.
Brian, you agree? What do you say, Brian?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
LBCU.
Okay. LBCU. So this is the best story in the LBCU so far.
Hashtag that, folks. LBCU.
It's the most believable. It's the most. It just feels like a real story. It's not contrived. It's not.
I felt the connection between the two characters when you're watching it. You do feel a little something there.
And I'm almost a little disappointed in the name of the episode is Isaac the Groupie because he's not. I mean, yes, he's got groupie tendencies, especially at the start, but by the end, he's not a groupie anymore.
He's got a thing for
but he has a thing. But like he's not acting like he's not.
I agree. They could have named that something better.
He's not following her around, like bothering her. Like he serves her a drink. They agree to go on a date, and everything after that is more of a relationship.
And she suggests the date in her cabin, right?
Yeah, which was very odd
in her room. So I thought that was interesting.
I wonder how she functions on this cruise ship as far as eating, drinking, going to the pool because she's going to be recognized.
Yes, but I don't think she most of her scenes with Isaac are at the bar when there's nobody there.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, is she just sleeping during the day and going out at night so that she misses
Yeah,
everybody.
because Isaac's working during the day, right?
That's
So
what it's very strange.
where's Gus?
It's very strange that she would go on a cruise trying to be anonymous because she's not going to be anonymous.
Yeah, that does seem weird. I mean, I guess I was listening to something recently, and they said, would you like would you like us to film that? They said, like, there was something about a scene. They said, oh, it's just implied, and they were like, do you want us to film it because we can? He said, it's going to be boring, but we can film it. So that's probably something like that. Like, I guess you just have to. I don't know. I guess you have to dismiss it or something, but it's hard to sometimes. But like now, you got me harping on it. So
sorry. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for harping.
Okay, our next scene we had Robert, right? Yeah, Robert Tanner.
It's Gomer.
Gomer, he spots the captain in the dining room and he introduces himself and he starts talking about the word aloha for some reason. Absolutely no
fact
reason.
that it's hello and goodbye in Hawaiian.
Stooping tires of Mr. Tanner really quickly.
Quickly. Like 5 seconds in, he's like, I got to get out of here.
He's grabbing Gopher by the arm to get out of there. Gopher takes off. But Jim Neighbors he does not give up. He's relentless.
Yeah. And this is actually another, we were talking before how Doc's hardly in this. The captain's hardly in this either. Also, he's very little screen time.
And we'll get to the captain again a little later. He was again extremely rude later. I'll point it out. There's a scene where
I know exactly what you're talking about. So he screams aloha as they're walking away.
Yeah,
and
it's so
people
weird.
are kind of put off by it. So now Isaac is at Diane Carroll's door and he knocks and
yep, she's in cabin A352 in case anybody was wondering.
Now, as a frequent, I don't want to say frequent, as a person that's cruised a couple times, I've been in
frequent cruiser.
Well,
huh?
not frequent, but I've been in these rooms. This room is ridiculous, and this actually reminds me of Milton Berle's room last week. It's so big that there's
they gave
share,
Uncle Milty a big room.
Yeah, I guess there's suites, and I've never been in one, but they get a chair just to put in front of the mirror. It's so big.
This was weird. Okay, so
I don't have that. I don't have that in my bedroom here.
Isaac knocked, and then he's like excited, waiting for the door to open. But he aborts really quick, like he's about to leave really fast. Like
again,
he didn't even knock a second time.
These rooms aren't so big that it shouldn't take more than 5 seconds to get across.
But be honest,
the
if you're about to go into Roxy Blue's cabin, wouldn't you have knocked a second time at least? I mean,
he doesn't knock a second time. He just knocks.
No, he just knocks once, and then he starts to walk away, and that's when. She opens the door and she's wearing the best T-shirt ever. I'm going to ask my sister to make this T-shirt for me.
Stevie Wonder loves you. That's a good one. That is a good one.
I like that for some reason.
And so he brings a bottle of champagne with him, right?
No, it's a bottle of Kahlua because that's what
Kahlua
she likes.
Okay,
Yeah, so he brought a bottle of Kahlua on
he's got
rocks.
the ice with him. Okay, I thought it was chilling the champagne. Okay.
Isaac compliments her and she offers to have him come in and listen to her Ray Charles tapes.
Which is great. Like, do you think they have cassette decks in these rooms, or did she
probably brought one? I would think. And then
one.
she wants to talk about his suit. She wants to know how many cows were harmed for it.
It's a very leathery suit, that's for sure. So,
but that's a quick scene, basically.
But again, they go back to that in between, one Jim Neighbors scene, so they're focusing on that a lot.
And now we're going to get Gopher talking to Bert Fredericks, and this is here's some more Three's Company hijinks where they're trying to set up Gopher to take some pictures of Mrs. Fredericks because they want to post some pictures in the hall or whatever room they're going to have the birthday party in, and they want some candid shots to have him blown up.
Yes.
Which
I got to tell you,
I'm emphasizing those words, blown
because
up.
Let me tell you something. Maybe the only time I've guffawed in a Love Boat episode is later on when the blow up comes. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
How it did not end right then and there. It was insane. That's so crazy. So Mrs. Frederick, she kind of overhears a little bit of everything, but her suspicions are way up again.
Yeah, and again,
just,
these are adults.
Just fucking ask what is going on. Are you trying to kill me? Do you want to get divorced?
Also, surprise birthday party? After 10, there is no need for a surprise. If my wife gave me a surprise birthday party today, I'd probably divorce her. I'd be like, you're out. I'm not doing this.
The Fredericks didn't bring their friends or anything on this cruise either. So you're throwing a surprise party and you're inviting all these people on this boat that don't know who you are.
Surprise parties are, first of all, the worst thing ever invented. And
I
secondly,
hate being the center of attention.
So
listen to my podcast.
I mean, who wants? No one wants one. No one's ever been like, "Oh, I hope I get a surprise party."
There's definitely people that like it. I know I'm not one of them. I know you're not one of them. Brian, I'm guessing you're not one of them. Or Do you like parties or being the center of attention?
Well, I don't like being the center of attention, but I like parties.
Yeah, but the party's fine. Surprise party's terrible.
Yeah, but a party for yourself, or would you rather just go, hey, I'm going to party over Andy's basement and maybe we'll do a podcast?
I'm trying to think of if I've ever actually been in a surprise party. I know I've never had one thrown for me, but I'm trying to
I'd rather have like, surprise, we're playing poker. Like, yeah, all right, this is cool.
You know what? Now that you say it like that, I definitely had a surprise. I was part of a surprise bachelor party. We went to a guy's house. You know this guy, Mike, that we work with.
I think I know that guy.
And it was his brother and 4 other guys.
I know his brother, too.
And 4 other guys who you also know all of them. And we got a limo, and we just went to his house early in the morning and picked him up and brought him.
Oh, he had no idea you were
no
picking
idea,
him up?
but his wife did. He'd already been married, so this was like after he got married bachelor party, and we took him to AC and had a good time. And
did he make it home alive? Yes. I know the guy, so I'm just
everybody in that limo made it home alive. But someday I'll tell the story about what we did.
That's for a different podcast, not the Love Boat podcast.
I can tell that story later. So anyway, surprise parties, terrible idea.
I'm on board with no. I do not want a surprise party. The part I'm just thinking of a party you were gonna have here, or you did have here. It was it got rained out. You were gonna have Nanny Does Play. What was that? It was a birthday party.
That was my 40th birthday party.
40. So we're looking at 11. That was 11 years ago.
11 years ago today. Yes.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy birthday, Andy.
So 11 years ago, I had. But I planned most of that party, so it was definitely not a surprise.
That was Sal and Bob didn't get to play at all, right? They ended up
because it was raining all morning.
But then I remember after they packed up and left,
it became nice.
The most beautiful day ever.
And then there was a lot of drinking. I think I woke up in my bathtub. That was a rough one. Whew.
What a night!
And that was when I was 40. That would probably kill me now.
I'm 40. I'm a man.
That's
for all our Oklahoma State fans out there. Mike Van Gundy, do you remember that one?
Yes, I certainly do.
You talk to me. I'm 40. I'm a man.
They were making fun of the quarterback, right? Or
they were talking.
They
were saying like it was his fault for losing the game, so they were kind of like basically.
And he was like in tears, and he was like 19 years old.
Stop talking to this kid like that. You know, I mean, you're crushing him.
Terrible.
Meanwhile, they don't pay him, but that's another podcast. Again, we could talk about that later. But I think they're going to start paying him soon. The bigger schools, at least, will be getting some money.
The quarterbacks, the people that can make money off their name. No one cares about the swimmers and
why do you get
players.
Why do you get this offense? Yeah, or different. So I thought we were talking about like different positions, but football, different sports, they're not going to be seeing. The women's diving team is not going to see a lot of money for their new.
I'm sure there'll be a lawsuit,
caps.
and they'll have to split the money. For every
equally,
for every Tim Tebow and Trevor Lawrence, they'll have to like take their money and split it among all the athletes because they sold his name. He made money off his name, but you can't have that. You can't have one person making money. Anyway. We've gotten way off track.
I know. I'm sorry about
Diane
that.
Carroll.
Diane Carroll looks amazing again in this blue and white dress. I think it is, but she's wearing glasses to be conspicuous. Inconspicuous. Yes.
So now she's getting coffee. So it must be the next morning. And I remember at this point being like, now last we saw them, Isaac went into her room to listen to Ray Charles tapes. I was like, now he knows she's like. He knows that she was drinking because he makes a reference to it. And at this point, I didn't know what was going on in their relationship.
Yeah, I guess it was.
It becomes
we don't know if they're how far.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You don't know how far it went.
Yeah. So now this was Julie comes rushing in, and this was some great hiding by Roxy Blue here. She picked up her magazine and put it up to her face as she started complaining about working too hard.
Does Julie know she's on the cruise? I know Isaac said something
Julie
about it.
Julie says. She didn't believe that she was on the cruise.
Because her name's on the list.
But now this is where she says Steubing wants her to be at the party, the farewell party or whatever they're going to have.
Which is weird because they just had the going away party.
Because Steubing loves Roxy Blue. I wonder if he's listened to the Satin Doll album as much as Isaac has.
And he makes
this was another George C. Scott reference here because
she drops the magazine looking at him side eye like, what? But
it was so it was so telegraphed, like everything you saw coming, like she's going to drop the magazine here, and she dropped the magazine.
It's a TV show; they have to convey what's.
But it was like you could see it all happening. So Steubing wants her at the party, and then some guy comes rushing in looking for the shuffleboard tournament, right? Yeah. So Julie
and he looks like somebody. This guy, he looks
I looked him up. He did a lot of
Fred Ward kind of looking.
His name is Bob Hastings.
Okay, is he
I looked him up. He did a lot of voiceovers and stuff like that.
He looked like somebody.
Yeah.
So now I think at this point they reference the fact that something happened last night, Roxy and Isaac, because they're talking now deeply about something. I forget.
Yeah,
You're the note taker. What happened?
I just had here about the Julie wants to find her, and then Isaac again says she sings like George C. Scott. She dropped the magazine, which we just talked about, and then Roxy calls him out on that after. So that was it.
Okay,
that was
that's what
basically
it
it right there. She just called him out on that, and the next scene shows
So now we're
Julie,
with Dave Grohl and
Julie and Bert. They were like, it was like they had drinks in front of them, like
Yeah.
they were sitting there for a while,
and they're talking about the party now. They're talking.
This is yeah. So this is just ridiculous. I think. I'm sorry. He says the jeweler messed up.
Oh,
so
this is with the necklace. Okay, right.
No,
yes.
he wanted to have a bracelet. Apparently.
Oh, bracelet, okay.
So the bracelet wasn't ready, so he blamed it on the jeweler.
Yes.
Julie says she'll help him pick something out. But like I'm thinking, Julie has no idea who the fuck this lady is, and she says, I'm gonna get the perfect gift for you. You know,
Well,
it's just like,
because with a bunch of diamonds, what woman wouldn't be like, oh, that's perfect?
and once again, we had Denise Fredericks, Michelle Lee. She was dropping eaves. Do you know that reference?
Dropping eaves,
Yeah.
Eavesdropping.
That's
Is that?
eavesdropping, but that's how Samwise Ganji said it in Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Dropping eaves,
I don't remember
eavesdropping reference.
Did you remember that, Brian?
I got
And you're a
that
big-time
from
nerd too, huh?
from an old friend, Lisa Molino. Shout out. She used to always say that to me at work. She's
She's a Lord of the Rings fan.
a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Yeah, bring it up to her.
Now
yeah,
that I'm shocked by.
yeah.
All right, what are we doing here?
We're finishing up this scene here. Yep.
This scene's going on for forever because now she's dropping eaves.
She's
But it's
dropping
not-
eaves.
It's not eavesdropping. It's eavesdropping, isn't it?
eaves.
Is it eavesdropping?
Yeah, eavesdropping.
Is it really? Maybe I've never
What
even
did you
seen
think it was?
Ease.
Oh, you think there's a V in there though? Eavesdropping.
Is
yeah.
there really?
Yeah.
Well, I see. You learn something new every day. I don't think it's a term I really use a lot, so I'm shocked by this.
That's why I think so. Yeah, dropping eaves. Dropping E would be like doing drugs. I think so.
Man, I'm really shocked by this.
This is great that you're learning things. I like that.
Now I'm going to use this in my daily
hope
life.
so,
I
because
don't know
it's-
how eavesdropping.
He says he says it to Gandalf. He says, I ain't been
You have
been
this
dropping no
written down in
eaves,
your
sir. Yeah,
notes.
right here. I ain't been dropping no eaves, sir. Samwise Ganji to Gandalf. I'm telling you. I just wanted to make sure I brought that up to you. I know I take notes on this, but yeah.
But you're taking Lord of the Rings notes now,
Well,
too.
because that's the reference. I wanted to make sure I brought it up to you at that time. I didn't want to bring it up in the beginning because then it wouldn't make any sense. But
Obviously, it wouldn't make
eavesdrops.
sense to me either. I don't even know the real word.
I'm saying eavesdrop. You're like, what's he fucking talking about?
This never came up on any spelling test in high school.
What's he talking about, Brian?
Obviously, I've never read a book that has that in it.
I'm letting him in the back door,
Eaves,
Brian.
Good Lord. Spiraling out of control.
Okay, so yeah, so here.
Thank God Jason found his edibles. Things have
that we're in his
gotten
driveway.
Things have gotten off track.
So here, they're discussing what Julie's going to get a gift, and then Julie leaves. As soon as Julie leaves, Denise arrives.
And she overhears something, right? About
Yeah, because Denise
putting
says
something around
your
the-
friend, where'd she go? Like, is she coming back?
She says something about putting something around her neck so you know what size the necklace is, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
he
that
said.
here?
He says to take the sash. Or
But
she says to take the sash.
she overhears that. She overhears like put the he makes some kind of reference where it sounds like he's going to strangle her.
Yes, when she's asleep, she says, "When I know this is this the scene where he says she says it to Julie. He's talking to Julie about
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And she overhears that.
I don't think it's a scene. It might be a different scene.
Oh, maybe.
So Bert was surprised and scared when she arrived, and Denise confronts him about his friend. Girl he doesn't know, she says. She asks for details, like what's going on, why is she talking to you, why all the small talk. She says she didn't small talk me. You know, she's not small talking with me.
Right. She's a cruise
And then
director.
she
She's supposed to
storms
talk to
off here
everyone.
and she says, I know you'd rather be alone on this boat and be single. She's like, but I am not going to give you a divorce. And she storms off, which is again,
Oh, now here we are
it
in
shouts off another shouting for no reason, because we've had it where John Ritter shouted across the room for no reason.
yes.
I forget what last week's shout was, but we're getting shouts like that. It might be something to start calling out on the different episodes.
Okay.
Of,
Since the
random
Titanic
shouting.
since the
I have
Titanic
something I'm going to
jokes-
bring up in very soon that happens.
But the Titanic jokes have obviously dried up, so maybe we should
Titanic,
do
they
that.
were like, we did like 7 of them in the first 2 episodes. They're like, we got to stop.
Now here we are back in her apartment or her room.
and she's having a conversation with herself in
Look
that mirror.
how big this room is.
That's a very big room.
She's got a chair just for sitting in front of the mirror.
It's like 3. That's a 3 drawer
dresser.
Dresser,
she's got a big table on the side.
A large mirror that she's talking to herself in. Asking questions. Like she starts to answer her own questions.
Yeah, she's definitely doing mirror on the wall kind of thing here, talking to
herself. She tells herself to get up and go have dinner, and then the phone rings.
The phone rings.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, right. Yes, I know why the phone rings.
She's crying as
this
she
is the best joke,
right?
Is this the joke here?
She's crying as she answers the phone.
Yep.
And she has a tissue in her hand, and she says, "Hello."
Yeah.
As she answers the phone. So Gopher then just starts speaking and says,
without asking,
hello, Mr. Fredericks.
Yeah.
He just goes right into, hello, Mr. Fredericks, and says, I can't get a clean shot at your wife.
But I can help you with the blow up or something like that.
Her eyes open really, really wide when Gopher says this. Gopher says, I told you, I'm not good at this. Better do it yourself. But Gopher says he could still arrange to have it blown up.
Right.
And then that's what she's like, who is this?
Oh my God.
But her eyes are great in this. I like the way she just opens up her eyes here. Yeah. She's really good.
Who? And again, we get shots of Gopher.
As soon as she has that, Gopher hangs up real fast.
Yeah, we get Gopher's really crappy quarters here. It's very dark and
Gopher has a really crappy room compared to what we see in Isaac's room later, because he has like a room.
Is that Isaac's room or is that her room?
Yeah, because she came to his room because she says, spoiler alert, why didn't you come see me last night?
Right. And we know Doc's got like a 3-room suite there. I mean, it's part office, waiting room, bedroom. But there's that
one room that we haven't seen yet where there's some crazy stuff going back
well, he has been married 4 times. A lot of stuff's going on in that room.
Doc's been married 4 times.
Diane Carroll was married 4 times.
Yep, I was just gonna say, and then Steubing, he's had several marriages, I believe.
It's tough, man.
When you're a man, Julie gets engaged like 36 times, I think.
When you're a man, well, they probably all had coke on them. When you're a man of the sea, you know.
Just kidding. We really want her on the show too. She's still around too. We'd like to get her on the show.
Well, you know, she knows she was a coke addict. That's why she was.
Well, she's got a book. If she wants to bring her book on, we'll plug her book. Maybe we'll plug, any projects she has going on right now. And
I wonder if she has anything going on.
It's a good question, but she could be doing a podcast right now. I'll tell you that much. You're invited anytime.
Any idiot can, obviously.
Anytime.
So now Michelle Lee is freaked out now because now maybe they haven't had the strangling conversation yet because
I think it comes up after this.
Because now she's had the you get blown up thing. And now,
I think that happens after the skeet shooting incident.
I forgot about that.
So here,
Jim Neighbors comes to dinner with the Dullards, and
she makes a point to say if he asks about what we had for dinner, she's going to slap him.
And he, of course, asks for dinner.
First thing he says when he comes over.
Let me tell you something about the choices of dinner on this shit ass cruise, man. If liver and onions was ever offered to me on a cruise, I'd be like,
didn't we talk about that last episode?
Did we?
Did we talk about? Because I remember saying that my dad ordered it recently at a diner we went to. I thought I talked about that, but
liver
maybe that was something
onions,
else.
Man. I mean, like,
am I doing another podcast that I don't know about?
Probably. Did you have more of those edibles? The fact that liver and onions is even an option on this cruise, that is insulting. Who would ever have that? Who would have that?
It seems like when I was younger, it was always my grandparents, and like I don't remember my dad having it until he was older now.
Well, I remember from my growing up that we never had it because my mom doesn't like it. My mom would cook dinner, but my dad loves it. So we'd go out to dinner, and my dad would get it when we ate out because my mom refused to make it. My mom's a very good cook, makes a lot of great stuff, refused to make liver and onions.
Is there a reason behind her not wanting to make liver and onions?
Because I think liver and onions
it does smell,
bad.
yeah.
Listen, I love the smell of onions.
She makes cabbage probably, right?
Yeah. I don't think it has to. I think it's she didn't want to eat it, so why would she make it if she's not going to eat it?
I could see how that maybe it made her sick.
Liver and onions seems like, if I'm picturing liver and onions, and listen, I love all foods and meats of all kinds.
Just take a look at us. I mean, come on.
But liver and onions sounds so gross, and that seems like a throwback
I
to
think
like
cabbage does too, though. Stuffed cabbage.
I love cabbage, but that seems like a throwback to like Depression era food. Like all you could get is liver and onions. You couldn't get a steak. You couldn't get chicken. So here's some liver.
And I just from the looks of it, doesn't it seem like it's a really tough meat?
I mean, my liver has been battered around for 51 years. No one's eaten that. But liver and onions,
isn't that what they do for like foie gras or whatever?
They stuff
the bird so the liver gets, and then you
expands, and then you.
Now you're hungry, right, Brian?
And that's something else I've never had.
I've never had that either. I don't think I want. Would you eat any kind of like crazy big game or anything like that? Like, have you had other meat? Like, have bison?
I've had bison. I've had
Ostrich.
ostrich. I've had bear, deer.
There's like a place in New Hope. It's they sell all kinds of like beef jerky, but it's like the different animals.
That's interesting.
Like,
I'm down with that.
Would
kind
you
of
eat
stuff.
zebra jerky?
Yeah, I'm sure I would. I mean, I don't know. The horse
If
family.
you had
horse family
McDonald's,
seems like
right?
it would be.
There goes this. Am I allowed to say that? Beep that one out.
Bump. Where's the drum roll, please? Anything in the horse family seems like it would be very tough meat. Like they're very lean on.
It's like it would be gluey. I mean gooey.
Oh, geez, back to back.
But
I think that anything that's like such an athletic animal, that meat would just taste very like it's all muscle.
I think,
that doesn't sound
I
any
think.
good.
But
I want a big
what did you have?
fat
Like you said, you
cow.
had bear. Was that like a burger, like a bear burger? Or was it like a steak?
I just had like a piece, like a square of it. I got duped into it. I thought it was human, actually.
I had deer bologna. Have you ever had deer bologna?
No, I've had like
it's
deer
almost,
steak.
it was like
but-
kielbasi.
okay.
It was like really,
Sounds
but
like-
a little thicker. But
My mom has a friend who's a hunter, and the bear season was 1 year in New Jersey, and he shot a bear. And so my mom came up to me. I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we're at my sister's house, and my mom came with like these little cubes in toothpicks, and she's like, "Try it." I was like, "It's not people, right?" And she assured me,
Soylent Greens.
and she assured me it wasn't. But even as I ate it, I was kind of like,
You're like, this is my mom. She wouldn't really.
Let me tell you something.
Me, right?
Bear was not enjoyed. Like it didn't taste good. It was like very hard to eat, and it was just a
I didn't
cube
care for
of
the
it.
deer bologna. It's just
I
think no.
I do like venison.
Yeah, I don't.
do like venison. I
never
could eat
got.
deer.
Yeah, I think that's a tough meat too.
Yeah, I guess it's the way you prepare it. But I've had that at restaurants actually because I don't
Like it was
get
like
that
a specialty
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of
get
thing,
it
yeah.
a lot. I'm not a hunter. I don't really know hunters. I mean, I do know hunters, but it's not like I'm saying get an extra deer this year. Hook me up. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Liver and
again, we
onions.
went off on liver and onions.
Liver
here.
and onions, terrible choice, and it comes up multiple times in this episode because he starts saying he asks for it, then changes his mind, and then
it also seems like he talked. That's what not just with the dullards, but that seems like that's what he talks about with everybody. Because when to get the dullards to leave here,
Can we
he says
spoil the episode? Can we get to the end of his plot just so we can discuss
Jim
him
Neighbors?
as a person?
Let's hold off on that. It's a little
Okay, 'cause
surprise, right?
I know, but like, okay, that's fine. We can discuss
But
it
here,
later.
to get the dullards to leave, he mentions that the three people that he talked to about over there started to gag.
They got sick as
They got
well,
sick,
so
so
they got sick. So she says
she said she
doesn't
was feeling
feel well.
queasy
Yeah.
and she wanted out, and that was their out. And then once again, Jim Neighbors was a golly.
And is this where he says it? Because
I know
we
we do get a
a
golly. I don't know if it
straight
was
out of
here or not,
Mayberry
yeah.
golly in this. I was shocked that I thought that was kind of like almost
You
like
think it was like
that's almost like if
copyrighted?
Well, I was gonna say if Henry Winkler shows up on here playing a character, he gives it A. I'd be like, is that like the Fonz? That's not Henry Winkler.
Now that's it. Now that's what something I'm going to look for.
Golly
Anybody that
is
comes
like
on that
Jim Neighbors.
that's a catchphrase.
That's not Jim Neighbors. That's Gomer Pyle. So unless it was him, I mean, was he a stand up before
Jim Neighbors?
Mayberry?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering if that was like maybe his stage thing that he.
I mean, I
brought
know he
to-
was. I mean, he sang and he did a lot of that.
kind of like
stuff,
Andy
so-
Kaufman brought that foreign man to Taxi, like it was a character already, and then that's what Lotka became on Taxi. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if like maybe the golly thing preceded Gomer.
Oh, like it was like a get her done kind of thing, like
Something
it was
like
he
that,
a
like it was
comedian
in
who did
his-
that kind of thing or something.
Well, let's
like that.
pretend that's funny, and Larry the Cable Guy's funny.
I wish I knew his. I like when people call him by his real name, but I don't know. I forget. It's like
Although,
Stanley or
let
something.
me tell you something. Mater in Cars was the best part of Cars.
And let me tell you something too. Let me tell you something. But that guy is worth at least $250 million.
I'm sure,
he's worth
'cause
so much money.
there are a bunch of dumb hillbillies in this country. I think we know that. And they go to see that. They see that redneck comedy tour, which just looks god awful.
There's only one of I don't think he did the blue collar one, but I think Ron White I think is funny. I like him,
He's part of that.
but I don't think he did their tour like the
Well, they
blue
did the
collar comedy
movie.
tour.
Where he
He
was
might
in
have been in the movie, but I think Ron White's funny out of
Yeah.
all those guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, Jim Neighbors. I don't know if he was a stand-up. That's a good question though. It's something.
I mean, these guys had to have started somewhere before they were TV.
That's why I think his was music though. I
Maybe,
think that was his
maybe.
intro. And
But he doesn't.
The whole,
Does he sing in? He sings in Gomer Pyle. I wonder if he sings when he was on Andy Griffith.
I
or
think so because I
Mayberry.
think that's what was
Marbury.
Mar-
Stefan Marbury?
Marlboro. I My mom watches Andy Griffith every night.
To this day,
To this
what,
day.
Me TV or something
Me
like that?
TV or Antenna, one of them. Yeah, it's on one of them. But, and I always tell her, I was like, you can watch this. There's this on, But now she has like her apps too on her TV and everything. But she loves, if she's watching regular TV, it's always Andy Griffith or a game show.
Man,
usually.
that Andy Griffith, even when we were young,
I don't like it. I love Don Knotts, but I can't get into it. Brian,
it's a little too
thoughts?
hicky.
Yeah, I enjoy Andy Griffith.
Yeah, it's just a little too hicky for me. I'm not down with that.
I try. I mean, I love Opie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
I like Andy Griffith
yeah.
as an actor.
There's a really serious movie he's in too. I forget what it was called, but it's really good. It's completely different than Andy Griffith.
I remember he was the bad guy in one of those late stage Leslie Nielsen movies, where he was like Leslie Nielsen was
before Leslie Nielsen went funny, right?
No, it was post Naked
Airplane?
Gun, and
Okay.
it was when every movie that Leslie Nielsen did was a parody.
After
Every
Naked Gun,
single
I think
movie,
that's all he did. Yeah.
and this was one of those
Spy
ones.
Hard
It
and
was
stuff like that,
probably
yeah.
that one. It was where he was either like the James Bond character or whatever, and Andy Griffith was the bad guy in that.
I see. I don't think I've seen a lot of those. I didn't see,
But it was one of those movies that had a great cast. Leslie Nielsen, Andy Griffith. I remember Charles Durning was in that. Great movie, but
that's a
a
good
great cast. But
Yeah.
there's only so many of those jokes you can do.
Yeah, I think speaking of great casts, the Towering Inferno. One of the guys in this was in Towering Inferno.
Oh, really?
I forgot to mention that at the beginning.
I
but
might have seen that on TV when it first aired and never saw it again.
I have the Blu-ray, and it's one I do want to watch again recently. I remember it being really. I like the disaster movies from the 70s and 80s, I guess, But
I don't think I ever had any real connection to that.
again, I apologize. I know we're way off topic again, but so let's finish up the scene with Jim Neighbors and the Dullards.
My God, this podcast is lasting longer than this cruise. It's a
Bri,
10-day
what's our
cruise.
time, Bri?
We're at 57 minutes.
Good God, we have to
57
edit this
minutes.
thing down.
I have. Let's see.
Subtract
1,
7
2,
minutes off that for all the
3,
banter in the
4,
beginning.
5. I got 6.5
Yeah.
pages left.
We need to
Let's-
stop stopping this thing and going off on tangents.
This I thought was a little
so now
intimate.
we're in Isaac's. No, this is her.
This is Roxy's
This is her
room,
place,
yeah.
and he's got his shoes
His
off,
bare
feet
feet
on the bed. I'm like, okay,
They've had sex.
Yeah, I'm like, this relationship has gone far really fast, but this is the 70s.
This was the
and
second reference also here where she talked about walking out on Bob Hope.
yes, another Bob Hope reference.
And she suggests they'll get Donnie and Marie and says that they'll never notice the difference. And Isaac says, yeah, I get you three mixed up all the time.
Which, I mean, if we haven't pointed out the fact that she's black and the Osmonds are not, that's just one of those kinds of funny, like, you're black, they're
And
white.
one was country, one's rock and roll. She doesn't fit in either
Is
place.
She's, I'm thinking like an R&B.
I want to say,
R&B singer or
wasn't she
something
even
like that.
was she even gospel? I want to say she might have been gospel.
I mean,
too.
she reminds me of like some of those
It's
R&B
tough to do.
singers
Like,
from the
it's
70s.
tough to do a
and stuff
deep
like
dive
that.
on every person, but
Oh, you mean Diane Carroll herself?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Roxy Blue. I'm sorry. Roxy
yeah,
Blue?
I only celebrate
she's
the
related
Satin
to Vita
Doll.
Blue.
I only Satin Doll era. That's my only time really.
I would have said she was like an R&B singer, like a
This was
Franklin or
also
something
the
like that.
fourth time a certain Mr. Scott was brought up.
What?
Fourth time.
Oh, George. I was like, who's that? George C.
Yeah, George C. was brought up a fourth time.
You mean General Patton?
And Roxy talks about being vengeful. She says, not like George C. Scott, but more like Lee Marvin. We got a Lee Marvin
I like
reference. That was
Now,
fun.
We just saw,
And then they kiss.
And now
And then they kiss me.
Dave Grohl is up on the deck skeet shooting. We haven't seen this since.
This is absolutely insane because Gopher is spying on
Like,
Denise.
these are not candid shots. These are.
What was the guy jumping out of the pool to scare her for, too? That made no sense.
But again, so he's up here skeet shooting, just like Mike
He's
Brady
getting
was.
lessons,
Just
yes.
like Mike Brady was skeet shooting. They go
So
to
I just pull and shoot, and then he shouts for his wife with the gun in his right hand. Denise, what's up, baby?
and the guy's just sitting there loading the next skeet. He doesn't care. There's a guy behind him waving a rifle around that we know has live ammunition in it.
So rightfully so, she runs away.
Yeah.
Gopher's taking a bunch of pictures, and what happens to Gopher, Andy?
He gets knocked in the pool. But these shots are going to be of a terrified woman racing. These are not candid shots of a woman sitting by the pool dancing. These are of a.
This was her first appearance of Doc.
I just like to point out that
so we're only 22 minutes into the episode.
I would just like to point out the terrible composite of the skeet shooting. It goes back to the Mike Brady one where I think it might be the same shot where it's obviously just another shot. It's a stock shot of a skeet exploding, but the sky doesn't even match the rest of the thing. Anyway, that's
great.
As soon as it happened, I was like, I think that's Mike Brady's skeet. It still gets shot down. So now Gopher. So now the Michelle Lee is now paranoid that her husband's trying to kill her.
She's trying to kill me.
And the doc's like, here, I'll give you a sedative. You
a
come
mild
in here,
sedative
sleep
to
it
calm
off.
you down, sleep it off.
And now she's like, you're in on it too. And she goes running away.
So she escapes from Doc's grip, he had a good grip on her arm, it looked like.
And Doc's like, what in the hell is going on here? So she runs away.
Doc just stares at the camera. That's the end scene. I thought that was
it's
great.
almost like a wong, wong, wong. And so she runs
see a
away.
lady here diving into, or doing a flip
upside
backwards
down,
into the pool.
She was actually
that was a very small pool, and it does not look that deep.
She was also the same woman who was lying on laying out by the pool in the scene before. So they probably only had one
doesn't
girl.
Look sunny. Here's your favorite part with
Jim Neighbors just standing up on the deck, and Julie and Captain are talking,
thinking that he's all talked out.
Yeah. Now the director goes, Jim, just stand
but then
up there.
Captain Stubing says to Julie here, he says, make sure he has a good time. Everybody needs to have a good time. And so that's basically a challenge for him.
But yet where the captain was talking to him, he was like, I got to get out of this conversation. So it doesn't apply to him. But again, he's steering the ship, and Gomer.
This I thought was weird too. She's trying to get
Acapulco.
Gopher to help find somebody to sit at his dinner table. Gopher reaches over and asks 3 people by the pool, and all 3 jump into the pool, almost doing synchronized swimming.
He's handing out L.A. Times or an L.A. He says L.A. Papers.
Oh yeah, L.A. Papers. L.A. Papers.
I always wonder how they get the papers on the ship of that day, not in that city. Like, is some kid delivering the papers
Helicopter?
is he riding his bike next to the boat, flipping them out? Like, how do they get them? I remember getting the paper.
My thing is this. So he's asking 3 random people by the pool to sit with Mr. Tanner. How the fuck do they know Mr. Tanner? And then he's like a guy that just keeps talking, right? Am I right?
Because everybody knows him now. Everybody knows this Gomer Pyle looking dude is just the worst person. So now the dullards are reading the paper, and
they notice an article in there about a international jewel thief
that looks like
they don't show the picture.
No,
to
they
us,
don't. I wish
though.
they had.
I was hoping for it too.
And they say it looks like Gomer Pyle, and he's got his hat pulled down, so they can't really tell. And
Except
he's got
his name
the initials.
The name is
Roscoe,
RT, Roscoe Toller.
Roscoe Toller. So RT, similar to how Stephen King always has his bad guy being RF.
Mr. Dullard wants to tell the captain, but Mrs. Dullard's like, we could be best friends.
Now this guy's interesting.
Of a jewel thief.
Now this guy's interesting.
She wants to get, I guess, little notoriety. I was thinking she's going to write a tell-all book of her 5-day cruise to Puerto Vallarta.
Now that we've brought this,
was with an international jewel thief.
Now that we brought up this plot point, can we get to the nonsensicalness of?
We have to wait till we get there.
We
have to wait till we get there. Brian, do you agree? Don't you think we should wait till we get there?
Yeah.
I have so much to say about this. We're already
we'll get there.
6 hours into this podcast.
There's a lot to say there.
We'll pause.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. All right. So Isaac's now all pissed off because
he's talking to Gopher here about how much he loves Roxy, and he's thinking marriage.
Oh, so she's not angry here. She hasn't blown him off yet. She hasn't.
No, this is where he's talking to Gopher, saying he thinks that when you know it's the one. It's the one, and Gopher gives him a little smile. He's happy for him, kind of thing. But honestly, here I could see the heartbreak coming.
Yeah, I mean, good for Isaac shooting way above his weight class here because she's a famous singer. He's a bartender on a cruise ship. Did you really think that she's gonna go marry you or want to have a life with you or whatever? Unless he's just going to be her.
He was shooting a shot.
He did. He shot.
He got something.
I guess you have to take the shot, but he's really, I think, way too in love with her way too fast. And I get it. He was already in love with her probably before he even met her because he is, what do they say? The Isaac, the stalker? No, what is it? A groupie.
The groupie.
He already kind of had a thing for her already. So it didn't take long for him to fall in love with her.
Our next scene, we have Bert talking to the chef about the cake for the birthday party for a surprise party.
And he
for
says,
his wife.
anything you want. And then basically he
wants
the entire Declaration of Independence on the cake,
But also he wants it written in strawberries.
And the guy's like, where am I going to get all these strawberries? And he says, strawberries. So, yeah, he wants a chocolate cake for the surprise party for a 40-year-old woman that has no friends on this boat, and he already has so scared out of her mind that she doesn't want to leave the room, and that makes sense. So now he comes to the...
This is your scene here where they talk about the neck. She says, need to find out the size of her neck, and the way to find out the size of her neck for the gold choker is what Julie decides to get her for her birthday.
Maybe it's my ignorance, but like, how many different sized necklace sizes are there?
Just by
Unless
looking,
your wife's neck is like,
without
a football player neck, just get a necklace.
Without seeing Michelle Lee in this, she's about Julie's size.
Yes, he should wrap his hands around her neck and be like,
say, Julie, if it fits your neck, let's go with your neck. There she is right there. There's no way her neck's much different size.
Is it an inch
within
difference?
an inch?
Like, how do you order necklaces?
I want to measure. I want their neck measurements from 1977.
I want 6 feet of necklace, please. So so she overhears.
What's she gonna have, like a Mr. T necklace?
Jack Tripper, Joyce DeWitt overhears. She overhears Jack and Chrissy talking about murdering her by strangling her in her sleep. So she runs away, and she can't get on the elevator. She can't get on the steps.
This is where I wanted to talk about.
She can't get on the steps.
That's what I wanted to talk about, because once again we have an elevator scene. Mm-hmm. This is our elevator scene.
Yeah. If you have a set with an elevator, you got to use it every episode. You're not going to not use the elevator.
The elevator doesn't seem to be coming down for, like you said, she hits the button a few times and then decides, let me go over to the stairs over there. She goes over to the stairs. The door opens for the elevator. People are getting on and off. She runs back over to, and it's almost like she waited for the door to close.
And she does, because now it opens. Another woman gets on board and she starts very slowly walking over, and it basically closes right in her face.
Why would that lady hold it for
That
her?
woman made no attempt to hold the elevator door for her, and she made no real attempt to, those elevator doors, you just have to kind of put your hand there and it's going to stop. So
how great would it have been if Sherman Hemsley was still in that elevator?
Oh, that would be great. Every one of these episodes should have him and Esther in the elevator. So now she goes back to her palatial suite.
Room, and she's locking herself in, and she blocks the door with a chair, but she really doesn't block the door
because
with
that's
chair.
Not going to stop. There's no wedge there. That's just, and she puts a plant on top of it. A plant that weighs
that makes
an
it really
ounce.
Heavy.
Yeah, so that's not.
So she's
stopping
talking
anybody.
to herself again about what is she going to do? Oh my God, what am I going to do?
Which might prove that she might have issues if she's talking to herself this much. Although
that's
I talk to
a
myself a lot, so you never know.
But meanwhile, while she's talking, somebody comes out of the bathroom.
Yeah, he was in the can the whole time.
He's there, yeah.
He was like, "Do not go in."
He's
there.
like, "I'll be right out."
So while she's locked herself in now with this crazed psychopath that's going to strangle her and shoot her, and this whole thing is so silly. So now she instead of saying.
He asked her what's the matter, and she says she just starts pretending she's sick.
Instead of saying what's going on and him acting like an adult.
Sit down, talk to each other. I'm sorry, I was trying to set up a birthday party. It got all messed up. I can't.
I know you're at the wit's end because you look like you're at wit's end. This lady is
you look
really...
like you haven't eaten. You're about to stroke out. Like something is wrong with you.
She does look, and he's not picking up on these signals at all that she has.
She tries to get him to leave.
She's run away from him multiple times. He's seen her run away from him. He doesn't notice that there's a chair in front of the door with a plant on it. That might be.
He had to hear everything
questions.
she was saying too, right?
It's very crazy. Yeah, that's right. She was talking to herself. Although that might be like TV internal monologue that they're just showing you.
But they're making, to me, she's a little wacky.
Yeah. So now we got Jim Neighbors at the bar.
It seems like everybody's pimp. They're all about him. He's just sitting in the middle, and
the Dullards are there, but
some other people, and the Dullards get a little jealous.
Yes.
She's like, he's our friend.
Yeah. Why are you? You can't.
He's our crew's friend.
And again, he's talking about nothing. Like, is he talking about the
dinner
again here?
And here he was talking about tomorrow being the last night. He's like, I might get the roast beef.
Yeah. Rare. So they're making time with Jim Neighbors because now they think he's an international jewel thief, and I guess that makes him interesting. Even if let's say he was an international jewel thief, they're not asking him. He's not saying anything that's saying like I am. So he's no more interesting than he was the day before.
This woman compliments the Dullard's necklace, and he's like, and she says, "Isn't it nice?" And he's like, "I don't really know."
Which is, of course, your
jewels.
first clue. Like whenever the jewel thief
he says
he
doesn't know anything about jewels.
Obviously, he is the jewel thief. Now you know for certain that he is when he says, "I don't know anything about jewelry." So,
Mr. Tanner, T-A, it's a capital T, right? Yeah.
So anyway, they're all so excited to talk to him now because now he's interesting because they think he's a jewel thief. Now we're back with Dave Grohl and Michelle Lee. And
there's some funny thing part here. She says she wants to finish the book before she goes to bed, and he asks what page she's on, and it's page 3.
And this book is 10,000.
Take a look at that book right now because I want to talk to you about that book in a second. Here.
If it's not the encyclopedia
That's
through M, it's at least half.
That's
of that.
at least 1,000.
At least
1,500 pages.
That is
it's maybe a 1,200 page book.
That's what's it called? War and Peace right there. That thing is humongous. She's carrying that around on vacation. Don't you bring like a little paperback on vacation with you? Don't bring a 10-pound book
really
with
heavy
you.
book to be bringing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she says, I want to get to the interesting part, and that's when he's like,
she said she was hungry, and he said that she had room service 7 times.
7 times. I mean, even if you don't tip on half those times, that's a lot of money. So now we get
Isaac and Roxy
post coitus here.
That's exactly what I was going
to
say.
And again, Isaac shirtless again this week. He was shirtless.
I'll
last
tell you
week.
what, Isaac.
I mean, if I had his body, I'd be shirtless too.
Me too.
He obviously has no problem.
Tips. He would definitely get more tips at the bar.
He should just have the little bow tie around his neck and no shirt.
Just have that hair puffing out at the top of his shirt there, you know?
So they're discussing life after the cruise now because he wants to marry her or at least like have a relationship with her.
He says he loves her here too. And she says, Isaac, you don't get it, that she's a star. He doesn't get the kind of person she is at when people know who she is all around and everything like that.
And she's kind of basically saying, this is not who I am all the time because
this is why I came on this cruise to lay low and
when she's
next
Roxy
time I'll just
Blue,
get a yacht.
she's next time I'll go to my private island. When she's basically saying that this is not who I am all the time because I've got to be Roxy Blue, the famous singer.
Yes, and she then says that there's a farewell party tomorrow that the captain wants me at. I'm going to go to that. And he's like, what?
And why wouldn't he want her to?
And then she says, are you going to be there? And he says, I'm working. So he'll be there.
But
he's working
here. Yeah.
Her tone changed a lot here. Like she just seemed like very.
And it's not like she kicks him out. She just turns the light off.
No,
it's like,
but that shows you that they had sex already because she says, let's go to bed.
Let's go to bed. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not sitting in bed shirtless just because that's how he feels.
Although maybe she likes it.
Well, I'm sure she likes it, but he didn't just get there shirtless and be like,
yeah, you're right.
This is after
I'm wrong.
Huh?
I said, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
About what?
That's why his shirt's off. I was wrong.
Okay.
I just
I didn't know we were arguing.
That wasn't an argument.
Can you tell me when we're arguing so I know what's going on?
What are we arguing about?
I think we're arguing about the spelling of eavesdropping. Eavesdropping?
Eavesdropping. We'll be talking about that later. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to work that into daily conversation
That's
just so I know to pronounce it correctly.
Every book you've read that had that word in it, you were like, what is eaves?
What's this eavesdropping?
Drop? They probably put the space in between these two words.
I'm not about to even admit that there are words in books that I read all the time where I'm like, I don't even know what that pronounced it. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
This is what I wanted you to see. She was about 300 to 400 pages into the book.
Was she really? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Can you rewind that back a little bit, Brian? Just to
so she's been reading. Crazy. Oh, yeah. What we need to do is go backwards. Oh, yeah. Look at that book's like at least a quarter of the way done. Yeah.
She's gone in there a lot. So
she's been up a long time reading a lot.
It would have to be morning, but if she read that, unless that book has a lot of pictures. That's the only thing I can think of.
That does not look like a picture book to me. That does not look like one of those.
No, it looks like it's something serious. And this is a very, very weird. He just puts the sash around her neck.
Now, listen. If I was her, I would think I'm about to be strangled because what's the
rightfully
meaning
so?
of this?
She runs out of there, and I'm like, please, just somebody talk to everybody. Just talk to each other, and it's finally happening.
And so now they're having some kind of intervention because now everybody's up in their robes, so it's very early in the morning or late at night because a captain's dressed to the nines, but everybody else is
finally.
in
Stubing's just like, tell me what the hell's going on here, and he goes over to Bert.
What's he have in his hand? What's the captain got in his hand?
A shoe.
Is he?
That's the shoe. I think that it's her slipper shoe.
Oh, I thought he was like
that.
Khrushchev. He was like banging the table with the shoe or something.
She's like, is this mine?
It is her shoe. Yeah. Okay.
Like, this must have fallen off. So Bert says, "Hey, I was trying to have a surprise party for my wife here,
and
surprise."
And Captain goes, "Is she 12? What's going on here?" And so so now
wait, so she's screaming bloody murder because you're trying to do a party? Is that what you're trying to tell me right here?
So now everything's out. There's Doc in his very nice robe that looks like velvet. And
what is that, velvet? It's beautiful.
and Gopher looks like he's got an army issue.
This is also where they present the gold choker, and it looks like they chose the right size.
Well, I think he went up to her and said, "About this big, what size?
But-
the size of a woman's
But remember,
neck.
this just happened. He was just measuring her. So
Well, Julie had an extra one.
But Julie says I ran down and got
Yeah.
it. She just picked the size.
Because
I
the
guess.
jewelry store is open at 2:00 in the morning on a cruise ship. So, why not? Because it's like having the jewelry store when they have them in casinos. Who's buying jewelry at a casino?
Yeah, then they start singing "Happy Birthday," and the chef brings the cake in, and by the time the scene's over, it's after 3 a.m. They even mention that.
Do they? Okay.
It's
Well,
after
look,
3 a.m.
the chef's in his pajamas and robe.
But didn't you feel bad about the spelling? It just stopped at mother. It went M-O-T-H.
that
She
was
was a
a joke.
moth. They ran out.
He ran out of strawberries. Because he has so much written on there.
But does he really have to wear the hat at 3 a.m.? He did not wear that hat. Did he?
Chef, yeah.
It's just embarrassing. Chef, you got to make him wear a hat.
And let me tell you something. Just because he's a good chef doesn't mean that he's a baker. Those are two entirely different skills. So
if he's a chef,
unless he's not a chef, maybe
he's probably
he's just
making like giant pots of like
maybe
chicken
he's
noodle
just the
soup.
baker. Maybe they have a baker on staff there because you never know when you're going to need a cake for 20.
But how many people were being invited to this party too? That's another thing
Just
we never
them.
got. So it was just a surprise party for her. Surprise.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, look
I
at
thought
the
you were
pictures you gotta
I
be
thought you were trying to
hanging up.
kill me. Okay, great. You weren't. So now they just went to a shot of the pool during the day, and now it's night again.
Yeah, they showed somebody dive into the pool for no reason.
I guess they wanted to show you now it's not that night. It's
So when
the
it's final
next,
night,
It's the
yeah.
next night now. So they went to the pool just
This
to
is
show
the
you
dinner, and Mr. Tanner arrives to the dinner late.
Yep. He's got about 15 people at this table, and they are all just.
But he comes with news.
He comes with news, and his news is that they caught the jewel thief on a different boat.
Yeah, how'd you find out? One of the crew members told him.
Yeah. Now, does he have any inkling beforehand that they even know that there was a jewel thief at all? He just brings it up.
I don't know if anybody really talked about it in that circle.
Right. I'm saying, does he just bring, hey, did you hear there was a jewel thief on another boat and they caught him? So,
yeah, I don't recall that. And as soon as they find out that there's a jewel thief caught on a different boat and it wasn't Tanner, they all
leave.
Every single person at the table ups and leaves him.
Yeah.
And he, again, is talking about what he had for dinner.
Yeah, so he's standing there like a buffoon as they all left. And now it's the party.
This is the party. You got somebody playing the piano.
Which really looked like stock footage until they pulled back and he's there. I thought they just pulled something out of like a Liberace.
I thought that was
special.
I
or
guess
something
minus
like
the
that.
rings, yeah. So Steubing and Julie and a couple other people were sitting around
Random
waiting
people.
for
It's always
Roxy
funny
Blue.
when there's random people with no lines. Obviously, they're extras, but like Doc
Dressed
is
to the
kind of
nine-
like
dressed to the-
leaning on
yeah.
this woman at one point. It looks like she should be having something to say, and
Doc
she has nothing.
is the one escorting Roxy Blue in now too.
Because
So
now Isaac's kind of on the outs, and he's pissed, of course. Now, one of my favorite lines in this episode's coming up here, and I don't want to spoil it yet, so we'll
all right.
we'll watch it happen
shout
live.
it out, yeah.
So now she's
She's
there,
sitting
and
there talking to Steubing.
and Steubing basically Isaac drinks.
This is
Like,
what I was
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
This is where he was so mean.
Yeah,
Like the
so-
face on him. Steubing looks like he was ready to kill.
Well, in his defense, Isaac is the bartender.
Yeah, but
he doesn't know that there's a relationship here and that Isaac's all butthurt right now.
But
So,
he does know that he was hiding Roxy.
he orders Isaac. Well, he orders Isaac to do his job. It's not like Isaac's not doing anything. He's passing out.
He was pouring drinks for other
passing out
people as
drinks.
well. It's not like you said,
Yeah.
he wasn't in the corner doing nothing.
He's
or
passing
something
out
like that, yeah.
drinks, and
But-
you don't have to be the bartender
And
to
as soon
take a
as-
bottle of wine and pour it in other people's glasses.
As soon as Steubing says something, he does go get champagne and bring it over to them.
All right, so now look. So he shows them the bottle. He gives Diane Carroll some, is it wine or champagne? Do we know?
Champagne, yeah.
Okay, so she gets some. Now Julie gets some.
Of course, Julie did.
And now the captain's going to get some. Or no, I guess he filled up the captain's and Julie's at the same
Yep.
time. And now he puts it down and he says, hey, can you top her glass off? She has not even taken a sip out, and he goes around
Yes.
to top her glass off. I was like,
And
how?
she was like, Roxy wants her drink. Like,
Yeah.
she was very.
But she hadn't even taken a sip out of that
You're right
yet.
now
and,
that you
and-
say that.
And the captain
I
goes,
just
"Can you-"
noticed that.
Well, as soon as he said top it off, I'm like, she didn't even have time to take a sip out
and
of
he
it
did
yet.
top it off, though. So she had
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
a double there, right?
But it's very silly that he would ask him to do that when she already had a drink. It wasn't like it was 10 minutes later. It was 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, it's just a way to show her that she's a little.
I had that here, too.
She's got. She's the star now. She's not Roxy,
She's-
her
she's
friend.
Roxy
She is the
Blue,
star,
not-
and
she's not. Yeah.
it's to show that she's like the personality that she warned him about. She's like, this is not how I usually am. I'm usually, with diva. So
Steubing then asks her to sing a
and this
song,
is
and she
where I was
says,
talking
"I don't
about Doc's like sitting on this lady's armrest, like as if he knows her.
or he's planning to know. I said, I got some mild sedatives back in my room. if you're interested.
Is that why he's been married 4 times? Is Doc a date rapist? Is he drugged? Is he like Bill Cosby? Oh, can I not say that? Because now Bill Cosby's gotten out of jail.
We have 10 seasons of this to talk about with Doc, and he's there for all 10 seasons.
I mean, even though Bill Cosby was released, we still acknowledge the fact that he was a date rapist, right?
Bill Cosby's talking about touring, and
oh, God.
I tell you what, I'm getting a ticket.
Come on, man.
You don't want to go see Bill Cosby himself? Come on.
If he does Bill Cosby himself, sure. That was one of the best stand-up specials ever. So Diane Carroll sings, and they cut her ass off. I could not believe how quickly they cut her off.
I thought that she was going to sing the whole song.
I figured if you got Diane Carroll to sing, you would have her sing a song. You got Charo to sing a song. Diane Carroll gets
But they
cut
also
off
didn't
like
let
10
Charo
seconds.
play the guitar. We should have seen Charo's real guitar playing.
They did from a distance. They didn't show the close-up.
I wanted to see her up close.
They cut her off singing so quickly. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Isaac starts crying here as well, and Diane Carroll has a little tear in her eye as well.
I feel bad for them. You know, Isaac is definitely in love with this woman. Yeah.
I like them together,
and he knows. He's like, I can't. You know,
like the kids say, I ship. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
You ship them.
I ship them. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I don't know.
I don't know if the kids say that anymore. They said that 10 years ago.
That's all right. It works for our podcast.
So Isaac now is kind of forlorn and walking away, shoulder slumped.
Yeah,
and
a
Gopher
sad
knows.
sack.
Gopher's like kind of looking at him like, I know.
Gopher I thought Gopher should have given him like a punch in the arm, like a little, hey,
I'm surprised
guy.
Gopher didn't say like, dude, Mexican hookers, let's go, man. Oh, they're on their way back.
He's like, dude,
on the way next trip.
He's like, dude, we're going to go to Puerto Vallarta again.
We will be flush with cash. Let's go.
But yeah,
I said that about 50 times in the last podcast. So that's my first "Let's Go" in the podcast. I'd like to point out.
That is the first one.
Yeah. I listened to last week's one, and
you said it a lot.
Oh my God, it was disgusting.
Let's go.
That has to be edited out from last week's.
So they cut off Diane Carroll right there. That was quick.
Yeah. They have a singer on the show. They should have her sing it.
And
all right,
Jim Neighbors is leaving now,
and he's got a bag. And
but why did Gopher feel the need to grab it?
I don't know.
Check to see if he was stealing liver and onions.
I guess just kind of like to make a joke about how he was talking about it the whole time. All right, so Jim Neighbors is leaving with a bag. Everybody knows. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, because we're going to see the Fredericks leave first, because there goes Mr. Tanner's off the boat. Bye-bye, Mr. Tanner. So, actually, we're going to see Diane Carroll. Roxy Blue goes back to his cabin, which is B5. Gopher is in B5.
You suck my battleship.
Great
B5. I wonder where Gopher's compared to him. We've seen Gopher's number too. I don't remember what it is though, but we've seen Gopher's room number
we'll get
a
that
couple
next
times.
time. Yeah.
Back, remember when Gopher had his name on his boat, on his door. Isaac does not have.
He keeps it low key.
I mean, I guess in an emergency you don't need a bartender. Really,
Yeah.
it's not
What's
like
this guy's name?
Where the hell's the bartender?
Name?
Where's the bartender? I'm knocking on doors all night. I don't know where the bartender is.
So
Someone
Roxy,
get me a highball.
Roxy comes back and says, "How come you didn't come see me last night?" But she didn't say like, "Hey, come on up and see me sometime." But I guess that's the bathroom or like a washing machine in there or something. I didn't know what he was doing. In there.
He did walk into the bathroom and stay in there for quite some time.
And you could see him like moving around in there.
Did he just had to take a leak? He's
like, hold up.
I gotta go.
He's like, hold on. Did he wash his hand?
Yeah, so he's in there for quite some time. He comes up with a towel in his hand, right?
He talks about like, I hope you don't mind hanging out in the service quarters, like he was saying, because he's like just the work. His room is set up exactly like Gopher's. Like they have the same setup there, much smaller than any of the cabins that we've seen. Which is how it should be, I think.
I mean, I guess people that are paying get big rooms, but imagine if you're living on this thing all the time and you got that tiny ass room.
Roxy makes a good point here. She says that she's been married 4 times and everything, but then she also says
one of them was Doc. Oh no, she doesn't say that.
She says something along the lines of Gopher or Isaac's too good to be a Mr. Roxy Blue. Like she doesn't feel that he would have, because that's what he would be in her shadow.
When you're as famous as she is in this,
he'd be in her shadow.
You can't be a regular person to marry her. It's got to be someone with an equally large ego. And I think Isaac realizes
for forgiveness. There was a weird laugh on the laugh track,
and then I didn't recognize any laugh track nonsense this time.
There was some.
I mean, I know there is a laugh track, but I didn't pick up this week like the. I didn't pick up any nonsensical ones like last week's, where it was the one where the guy fell asleep and you knew it was tight on Julie's face, and then finally it turned, and then when they showed him asleep, everybody, you're like, oh my God.
Julie was making the drink.
Yes. And it wasn't until they actually showed the guy sleeping that the laugh track went so stupid. So stupid.
But this is was a lot of Isaac being very sad.
Yeah. You knew that's how that relationship was going to end, because
there's a little more to that after the Fredericks here are saying goodbye. And thanking Julie for everything. And then he says, we still got a few days left on vacation. You want to go to Vegas?
And she's like, on a plane?
And she gets all nervous again about Vegas and says, he said, Heather liked somebody. What was the name? I think it was Heather liked it. And she says, who's Heather? And it's like, that's your mom.
Oh, yeah. Her mom's in Vegas already.
Helen. It's Helen. I got it right here.
And she says, like, over the mountains and over the desert. So, I was like, when you're in a plane.
They're flying from L.A., too. So that's like what? That's like a little over an hour. But I'm saying it's just a little over an hour flight.
It's like a 3-hour drive. Just drive it. But, yeah, the fact
I don't know,
that
3 hours with her in the car. I don't know if I could do it.
Give her some of Doc's sedatives.
Here comes Mrs. Dullard and her crew and everything. Somebody stole her jewelry.
Yep. Which,
by the way, why are you so a crewman comes in, found a jewelry box. It was outside. Stubing said, see, everything's good. Huh? You got your jewelry. It's empty, but there's a note.
Yeah.
Now, can we pause this? Because I have the note. Well, I'll read the note.
I'd like to point out the fact that why is she bringing a jewelry box on a cruise? Like, how much jewelry do you need?
That was a problem I had as well. Is this what you wanted to speak about?
No. There's so much more to speak about. I want to speak about what is his. You want to do the note first so we know for certain that it was actually.
I'll read the note. It's a voiceover in Mr. Robert Tanner's voice.
Go. Do it in Gomer Pyle voice.
Well, please forgive me my please forgive my dishonesty. I'm sorry I lied to you at dinner last night. I told you I was going to have roast beef, but at the last minute, I changed my mind and I ordered the crab meat au gratin. RT, capital R, period, capital T, period. P.S. I figure your jewels I took are worth $90,000. Don't let the insurance company rob you. RT, Roscoe Toller. Are you kidding me? You took $90,000 in jewels on a 5-day cruise?
Well, it's not just hers. I guess he's robbed other people, right? Aren't all these people robbed?
I think that
is it. Just
it's hers.
Well, so she brought a box of jewelry on a cruise, $90,000 in 1978. That's like $500,000 in 2021.
I wish we had. That's insane.
So why did she bring all this jewelry for one? But more importantly, what was his? Like the whole routine, the whole routine with his Gomer Pyle kind of liver and onions, roast beef, capital R, capital T. Like, how does that work in the world of like? At what point? What was his in? Like, how did that help him rob these people? At no point did that get him any closer to them.
Did he make up that story? Like. Again, why would he make up that story if they have no idea that he is?
Did he plant a story in the LA Times?
I guess they read the paper. I don't know how much he knew of them reading the paper, right?
None of it makes sense because
did he know he was in the paper?
Did he rob them while they were sitting there at dinner when he came around the table and just took it off them? No, he had
when he was late to dinner. Is that when he robbed them?
Okay, so he went to the rooms and robbed them. Why does he have to make up the whole capital T, capital
I think
R,
that's
capital?
Just his autism, or he's on the spectrum or something.
That's just him being him.
I think that's just his character. He's like he's on the spectrum.
So he is the smartest, stupidest jewel thief ever. So now everybody knows to be on the lookout for a 6'5" Southern twang talking dullard.
We gotta have like a silly story. There's always one story you dislike the most, and I'm assuming this is the story you dislike the most from this episode.
Yeah, this was terrible. Like I said, all the ones with the big stars are the worst stories. Milton Berle, Sherman Hemsley, they've been the worst. Because
although I kind of like the Sherman Hemsley one because
they were in the elevator the whole time.
But the bickering they had going back and forth, that could have been a whole series.
But come on, that is no different than George and Wheezy. That is George and Wheezy in a nutshell.
George and Wheezy, and it was also Fred and
Esther. Yeah, so they were basically playing other characters.
That's like if the Jeffersons visit. It's like remember the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. No, we had
Jeffersons meet the Sanford and Son. What was his name on the show? Fred
Sanford, yeah. I was like, Sanford.
It's in the title.
You got me confused for a second too. I was like,
well, I was like, I know it's not Fox. It's not.
Freddie Fox.
Sorry.
So yeah,
did I eat those edibles, man? I don't know. Something's wrong with me. So anyway, this whole thing makes no sense. His whole way. It would have been much more interesting if they were letting him in their rooms because he's such an idiot. They're like, well, this idiot will let him in the rooms. But no, there's no reason for him acting like that. And the fact that they buddied up to him at the end doesn't mean anything. He had to probably rob them when they weren't in the rooms. So
after this note, too, it just ends with Stubing staring off into space.
Is this where it ends?
No, there's a little more with Roxy, but this scene ends that way. Watch how this scene ends with...
Well, he reads the PS part. the PS. You know,
Yeah.
hope you $90,000 and get insured or whatever. So,
but it's like, okay, and then he just stares off into space. It's just right here. That's the PS part right here, I believe.
he really looks like he's struggling to read this. He must need cheaters. He doesn't have them.
Has anybody seen my bifocals?
He gives a little. I wonder if he was in the laugh track there.
And then that's it.
He's staring and
just
goes
stares.
to black.
So then we get a little Roxy's limo. It seemed that I thought it was over.
And
then
this
the
looks
limo
like the
arrives.
exact same. I think they
same
used the
scene.
same shot from the beginning where the limo pulls up.
That was
because
definitely a stock shot. Because if there's a shot where you see the limo and Isaac and Gopher on the boat, it's definitely not Isaac and Gopher. Keep an eye out. So this is where Gopher waves, and then Gopher is basically trying to tell Isaac, like, flip-flop it, like, oh, she's the one. He broke up with her kind of thing.
I mean,
you know?
and there's no
Just to
happy
make-
ending
just-
here.
Just to
It's
make
not like
Isaac feel better.
It's not like she's going to come running up the gangplank and they're going to get together. This is it.
She does look back a couple times like she wishes she could do that. So there was definitely a big connection. And I think, honestly, I wish it would have happened. I wish they would have been able to marry.
Now, Diane Carroll has been on the Love Boat multiple times. Does she come back as Roxy Blue?
I didn't look ahead. I hope she does. And I
That would
hope
be
that would be
now,
nice. And they get together
That would be
again.
interesting
Yeah.
if they bring a character back that has a connection to the crew, such as Roxy Blue with him.
Isaac says if he's going to see her again, he says,
And there's Amazing Larry again.
and he says marriage is for chumps. Larry gets in the back with her. So
Oh,
he's
and I just saw
basically-
the guys up on the deck there that are obviously.
That was
it's not
not-
even the same part of the boat.
No.
It was the back part of the boat, and they're definitely not in the back there.
And then we see Roxy pull off, and that's this episode.
All right, I got
Um,
nothing else to add. This
I think we said a lot for this episode. I just want to say overall, decent episode.
yeah, one of the better ones. The Isaac story was great. Nice to see him brought to the forefront. Maybe
I've been complaining about him not having enough lines.
too
and I
bad
think
that
this is great.
The expense of Doc. Doc and Isaac, I think, are my two favorite characters. So the more of each of them.
I agree with you. I'd like to see more of Doc when we can, and I think we'll get some.
Gopher's the one that should have the least amount to do because he should just be the comic relief. He should be the one cracking lines here and there, but he should not be like. I think he gets second billing after Julie as far as lines, as far as being in scenes, and Gopher's just he's the goof. He doesn't need to be in it as much. So,
next week's episode, I'll give you a little preview of the special guest stars: Patty Duke,
okay,
Ruth Gordon.
Yep,
Robert Hedges, Maureen McCormick.
Marsha, nice.
There we go. So
Second Brady.
Yeah, but Robert Hedges, from Welcome Back, Kotter.
Who is he?
I got a note. Does that not give it to you? You want to see his picture?
Wait. Oh, Juan Epstein?
Yeah.
That's his real name?
Robert Hedges.
Why did I think it was something else?
And Ruth Gordon.
Damn.
That's Ruth Gordon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. She's like, what's that show from that show?
She was in My Bodyguard, one of my favorite movies.
Wasn't she from
Her top 4, Rosemary's Baby, Harold and Maude.
mm,
Harold and Maude.
whatever.
I love Maude.
Man, that's Epstein's real
Back
name?
to B. Arthur.
That's Epstein's real
B.
name?
Arthur
Why did
and
I?
Maude.
I'm learning so much tonight. This is crazy.
This
And
is-
that's it? Those are the stars next week? It's
that's-
Epstein and Marsha?
Marsha and Patty Duke.
Oh, Patty
But there's a
Duke.
few
She was
other
a-
ones.
Patty
I
Duke
don't-
was a big
few
star
other
at
ones
the
I didn't. Tab Hunter. You probably
Tab
heard.
Hunter. I know him.
Yeah, but there's a few other ones I didn't click on. I don't know them off the top of my head, just from name.
We'll have to research
But we'll
them for next
research
week.
them for next week. This has been exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
Thank you.
So sexy. Play that horn.
Let's go.